You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
Get ready. It's time for the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma, Big Q and the guys. And we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. Once again, I'm Big Q, and you listen to the Sports Coma Podcast 365. That's right, 365 on the Sports Coma Podcast, man. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about the Saints OTA'S going down at the Saints facility as the Saints continue, man, to try to rectify a very ugly situation that's been occurring over the last 2 years. And let's get this over with, man. Let's move on to bigger and better things. But that's a part of today's show. We're going to cover it. Saints OTA recap, a little information on that. We also have a great deal of interviews we're going to hit you with as much as we can hit you with within this shortened show. Coach Sean Payton chime in with his thoughts on what's going on. Also, quarterback Drew Brees is in the mix. Jared Cook, the new tight end, that's in addition to Kamara and Mike Thomas. He'll chime in with his thoughts on the camp. And, of course, our fantastic linebacker, Demario Davis, is chiming in on the Sports Coma today. So, for those who don't know, we are the Sports Coma, the independent, number one independent Saints podcast in the land, man. And we'd like to thank y'all for joining us today on the Sports Coma, both new and established family. Welcome aboard, man. Let's get to some black and gold talk here. First and foremost, they had a couple of things going on at the camp. A few guys were absent. Cam didn't show up today. Sheldon Rankins didn't show up in Thursday's portion of practice, in which the media was allowed to observe. 4 players were absent: Cam Jordan, Larry Warford, Chris Banjo, and Sheldon Rankins. 2 of the latter dealing with injuries. Sheldon Rankins, of course, is still rehabbing from a torn Achilles that he suffered in the playoff game against Philadelphia. And, of course, Banjo was seen at the practice facility. He has a minor injury. And no reason was given for either Cam Jordan or Larry Warford's absence during the camp. So one of the big things we talking about at camp was the fact that the offensive line, who would be starting, of course, the mix that they had with Warford being out. I think the first unit that marched out there was Terron Armstead at left tackle, of course, Andrews Pete at left guard, and, of course, at center was Cameron Tom. Wasn't Eric McCoy, but eventually it will be Eric McCoy. Now, at right guard was Nick Eason. Now, what's interesting to me here, of course, maybe you look at it and say, well, Eric McCoy is a draft pick. He hadn't up the speed on anything. But if you sign Nick Easton as a center, and Sean Payton told you he was going to be a center, then when you marched him out there, why you had him playing right guard next to Ryan Ramczyk? Wouldn't you have put Nick Easton at the center position? Now, granted, I'm not that high on Cameron Tom. I think he's a good player. He has a lot to improve. But Warford was given some good money to be a center, and they plan him at guard. Perhaps a little inkling into that. Perhaps, just things that make you think right there. But anyway, also a lot of great receiver play. Receivers were out there in full mass. Traven Durrell returned. Good to see him come back. The Saints signed him as an undrafted free agent back in 2017. He spent all of the year on the practice squad, recouping from I think it was a leg injury he suffered. But he's back in the fold, looking good, and he has a lot of competition to deal with. in the wide receiver room. Besides Michael Thomas, of course, Ted Ginn, then that's Traquan Smith, Keith Kirkwood, Cameron Meredith, who a lot of people are keeping an eye on him. Cameron Meredith, he was there, practiced on the side with his trainer, wasn't actually on the field, but practiced on the side of the field with the trainer. They're kind of taking their time with Cameron Meredith, and a lot of people kind of getting really, really impatient with Cameron Meredith. You know, did we sign this guy and he wasn't totally healthy? What's going on here? But anyway, before I get into the finish off the rest of the news, let's hear what Coach Payton had to say about his team going into the OTAs. Here's Coach Payton.
Any questions? We just finished our third OTA.
Early impressions of Jared Cook.
Look, what he did in Oakland was similar to a lot of the things we do formationally, but he's smart and he's got range. You see his route savviness and his ability to get in and out of cuts. The best thing he does is run after the catch. It's hard to measure that out here when we're not tackling, but he's real good that way.
And just his years in the league, I'm guessing when you talk to him, it's different than talking, especially coming off a rookie minicamp. I mean, he's been around a while, right?
He has. So he's been utilized in different ways. He's explosive. He runs extremely well. I think he's in good shape. So, it's the first time that he and the ability to tweak, which simply would put it in the coach's hands rather than replay's hands.
Sean, with that being said, with the helmet to helmet, you think that'll be the same or that will be addressed?
Nothing's changed relative to helmet to helmet. The vote yesterday was just simply if they want to take OPI, DPI, the concern is that there's 2 or 3 or 4 stoppages in the last 2 minutes of a half or a game because of maybe the contact that was seen. Would we rather have the coach utilize the challenge flag as opposed to the replay upstairs? That was the vote yesterday was simply to allow the committee to change it in the next coming weeks from one to the other. So it's not going away. It's just a matter of how we're going to handle the last 2 minutes.
So you think the competition committee will address before the season starts?
That's Coach Payton with his thoughts upon the barrier situations. Of course, he mentioned about Jared Cook and the fact that Drew Brees and Jared Cook are working together. Although, like, it's been 3 practices, this is where it all gets together here. This is where it all comes together. We'll play Drew in just a second. But, like we was going over the rest of the camp news, and it's this is where it starts. Pretty much this is where it starts, where we start to see where they belong and whatnot. But also veteran Marshall Newhouse, who I think you got to watch out for Newhouse. I think Newhouse will stick around for the Saints. I mean, he's a guy that can play either tackle position. He has a wealth of experience in terms of NFL experience. As offensive lineman, you can rely on him. I think Newhouse, they might have found a stickler with him, a guy that can kind of be the backup tackle to help out, so you don't have to constantly slide Andrews Pete from left guard if something happens to Teron Armstead. They reshuffle the line, sends Pete out the left tackle, and then all this kind of madness. Maybe they can keep Pete where he is and then slide Newhouse in there and perhaps kind of do the deal. I mean, I like Newhouse personally. I've seen tape on him. He's a good offensive lineman. He's not somebody you want to have for a long stretch of games, but for somebody to fill in for a few games if something was to happen, he has potential in that area. Now, also the big splash player of the game goes to David Simmons, who played pretty well, a speedy cornerback who came from North Park University, very, very small university, and he had the lone interception Thursday as he picked off a pass from J.T. Barrett. So he was an undrafted guy who played at Division III North Park University in the Chicago area. So big ups to David Simmons, speedy young cornerback. Getting an interception is always a good thing in camp. Now let's hear some more interviews. Here's Drew Brees talking about his relationship with some of his teammates, and particularly Jared Cook.
Really good, really impressed. He comes across as a real savvy veteran, a real pro. I'd heard a lot of good things about him before he got here, but he's certainly impressed these first couple days. He's got a great feel for the game, and I think he's going to fit very well into our offense and what we do.
So last year's motto was proven right. What's this year's motto?
Get better. Just take it one day at a time. I think we're all excited to get back to work. I'm excited to see what how the free agent acquisitions will fit in, and then also the rookies.
How has Cook changed things a little bit for the offense? Maybe how is he different than maybe what you've had the last couple of years?
Well, we're only 3 days into it, right? But I think he's certainly a guy who can run. He's got great length, so he's got a big catch radius. So you feel confident with those 50-50 balls. You feel like there's a lot of places where you can throw it, where he can get it, and the other guy can't. So anytime you have a target like that, you feel like that's a good matchup. Obviously a lot of attention goes to Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, and so I think having a weapon like that, in addition to the other pieces that we have as well, I think that they complement each other really, really well.
Drew, along the lines of what's the message when 2 seasons in a row end the way they did, but especially last season, do you concentrate more on embracing it and channeling it in a certain way, or trying to, that was last year, we're not even going to talk about it?
Well, you always try to take your experiences from the year before and turn it into something positive, right? Use it as momentum, use it as motivation, chip on your shoulder, unfinished business, whatever you want to term it, according to what happened the year before. And that's, there's always something to prove, right? And bottom line is every team, there's only one team that's walking away happy, right? Everybody else feels like they fell off the mountain and they're sitting down at the bottom. And now here goes the climb, right? One step at a time. And so I'm not thinking about February of 2020 right now. That's a long way away, right? And that's an overwhelming feeling if you decide to look to there. So we're just focused on the here and now, staying in the moment, enjoying getting a chance to be out here and work with a lot of these young guys, work with a lot of these new guys like Jared Cook and others, and just watching it all come together again.
Drew, how long do you think
That's Drew Brees' thoughts on Jared Cook, among other things, man, and real wise words from Drew about how to take the previous seasons. Of course, a lot of times the guys throw a little misdirection in there. They'll tell you one thing to the media that sounds good, but then they go back in the locker room and they're saying, listen, man, we can't go through what we went through the last couple of years. This is it. We got to smash it down. Our time and our window, because time pressures us all. And you got a certain amount of time. You got a window to win, and Drew Brees knows it, man. He's 40 years old. I don't know how long he could keep playing at this level. But if anybody could, Drew or Tom Brady, some of those guys could do it. If anybody could do it. But, it might be a little misdirection here, because I know Drew, like, he can get you riled up in a second if he need to. Let's see what Jared Cook had to say about his time playing
comfortable
at training camp.
Are you liking what you're seeing?
I feel good. Glad to be here. Just getting the playbook down, getting to know everybody, trying to get some chemistry with you, and just keeping things pushing. But I feel pretty good.
From what you see so far, is it more terminology, or is that pretty much the thing? I mean, you're a veteran, so you've seen a lot.
Yeah, I think a lot of the terminology is similar. But I think it's just more getting a rapport with Drew and getting his chemistry down and understand how they run things here and how they actually like it.
Jared, your first impression of Drew Brees at this point? I'm guessing you've been watching him for a while. What do you think being out here?
I mean, nothing's changed. I mean, he's a GOAT. He's advanced in what he does, and he's typical in the way he likes things. He's a great quarterback, and that's what I've always thought.
From your standpoint, what does he do that makes him special? What is special from the way you view him?
I just think he's very detail-oriented, and he takes the little things and strives to be great at them. He always he's very particular in how he likes his routes, where he wants you to be, and some indicators that he likes on the field. So I think it's just paying attention to that.
You had an option. What did you like about this offense, would you say, that you thought maybe fit what you do?
It's always been a very tight end friendly offense, and I just thought this was a great place for me to come and extend my career and come and shine for a little bit.
looking at Jared, I think Coach Payton said that he was specifically looking forward to having, Michael on one side and you on the other. Is that something that really appealed to you when you looked at it?
Yeah, absolutely. Having Mike and Alvin as pretty much the 1-2 combo last year, I felt that I can come in and kind of help Mike, and at the same time him help me, and we can relieve some pressure off of each other and make this a high-powered offense once again this year. But having Mike on the other side of the field, I think is going to be very, opening for us.
What do you think you can bring to this offense?
Just another piece in the middle of the field, a big target, and somewhere, a person that can get down the field to where Drew can find me.
That's the thoughts and words from Jared Cook, the new, I ain't gonna say new tight end, but the Saints' latest sign-in, one of the really good solid pickups for the Saints this offseason. They were able to pick up Jared Cook, address a major need as Ben Watson retired and unretired to go play with the Patriots. But they needed to address the need. They got the best free agent tight end on the board. Jared Cook fits here perfectly. You heard his thoughts on what he thinks he can bring to the table, paired with Elvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. He'll definitely take a lot of the burden and pressure off of those guys. And like I said, man, the previous shows, you guys listen to the show, the previous shows, like I've said, and I constantly keep saying over and over again, is that the Saints didn't have much cap room. But my gosh, didn't they go in there and really address every need they possibly can imagine? And then going into the undrafted market, actually looking at picking up players that can help them in the special teams area. I mean, special teams players, and doing a terrific job of trying to address the kick return, the punt returner. Marcus Shrells was brought in to do some stuff. They got a few undrafted guys that's trying to crack the team through kick return and punt returning, redoing the entire special teams room from coaches on down, doing and bringing in, just upgrading, doing the defense the previous couple of years, not a special teams, to kind of balance the team, as it were. Now, before we finish the talks, let's hear what Demario Davis had to say.
Demario, this is the beginning of a long process, but what are you hoping to see out of these OTAs and these off-season workouts?
Just an opportunity to get better. Feel good to be back out there moving around. Going against an offense on the other side, running plays, being able to cover guys, work on technique. This is a time where you can just, figure out what your range is and things that you want to work on and get better. You can really push them to the max. So it's a fun time of year.
Is it tough to kind of, start over from scratch? Because, obviously there's not much carryover from last year. You might have the same players, but now you're trying to integrate some new guys and trying to maybe do some different things.
I think, front office did a good job of retaining a lot of our guys. And so, the culture still feels the same. Most of the faces are the same. When we look around, especially on the defense side of the ball. And so, of course, there's young guys and new guys, and you have to kind of get adjusted.
That's the words of Demario Davis. Sorry to cut him short, though. That's going to be the end of the show today. I'd like to thank y'all for listening to the Sports Coma on the PRO Media Network. Do me a favor before you go. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button for more shows. Support our sponsors. And remember, share us, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Feel free to share us on all the Saints forums. Let them know about the #1 independent Saints podcast in the land. Thank you for joining us. Peace.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet needs it the most. With personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals, their values is what makes them Embrace. So, when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet
pet's best interests at heart. Get top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection, pet insurance and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to EmbracePetInsurance.com. That's EmbracePetInsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Hit the link below and rep the black and gold today. Who that? Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000. Celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registrars and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.